Up next. You are looking at the runway. Fireman's Memorial Park in Hempstead, Long Island. Once again, back with the Chief, J.R. Cottrell. And J.R., kind of some tense moments here. We are moments away from our first event, the three-man ladder. What right now is going on with each team? Is there one man taking charge, trying to give that little pep talk, winning for the Gipper, or one of them jobs?
Yeah, usually the captain of the team tries to take over here and set everybody at ease so that they're not too nervous, although the guys who are running in this event usually are very nervous. Butterflies are flying.
What kind of preparation is there before the three-man ladder? That is our first event. It's a five-man drill. What do they go through right before that event starts?
Well, prior to coming out onto the street, they usually have a ladder someplace set up where they practice, loosen themselves up, try to get down to their best time that they can run. And then when they come out onto the street, they just try to stay loose. Don't try to tighten up too much or get too nervous.
What are some of the specifications on the ladder itself? There is different lengths a team can choose to use, but I know you have a theory that all teams go with basically the same length.
Well, in the motorized contest, the teams have a chance of changing the ladder a little bit. In the three-man ladder contest and the bucket contest, we use the 25-foot wooden service ladder, which you see now. It's made by an outside company to the drill team captain specifications, and it's used the exact same one every tournament that we run.
Now, we are moments away from our first event. There is 8 events in all that we will see during the course of the day. How important it is for teams to come right out of the block and get those early points?
Well, there are some teams that are stronger in the ladder events, which are the first 3, and then there are others that are stronger in the later events, which end up being the hose events. It's important that teams score in most of the events, and if you're a strong team in the hose event, then if you score a few points in the ladder events, it's to your benefit. However, if you're a strong team in the ladder events, you have to do what you can to get as many points now as you can for the rest of the day.
Right now, there is the conglomerate of all the teams on the track, some official business going on, and we are about to start our first event, the three-man ladder. Give us a little simulation of what's going on here, JR.
Well, what happens here is that there are 5 men in the event, 3 of which run. There are 3 men that climb the ladder. One starts from 50 feet, one from 75, and the third from 100 feet. They all have electric lights spanning the front of each line that they stand on. As they break the light, the time starts. As the third man grasps and holds the top rung of the ladder, the time will end.
So this is where a couple of your quicker guys on the team will be, your faster runners.
Usually you have your fastest men on three-man ladder, but it also has to do with climbing a ladder also, not just running on the ground. You have to be able to combine both the speed on the ground and the quickness on the ladder in order to compete in this event. West Sayville is one of the better teams this year in three-man ladder. And they're up next.
West Sayville, one of JR's favorites here in the three-man ladder. They are the team in blue. They are up next. How about that last guy? Is it important for him to give that all-out lunge at the marker?
You usually like him to break the light, which means start the clock, because he's the one who ends up stopping the clock. And you want him to be the faster on the ground and on the ladder. And they certainly look like they got a good run going here.
Oh. How on earth does anybody practice running up a ladder that fast? I mean, God knows you're not asked to climb a ladder that fast if you were at a fire. I mean, these guys get up the ladder in lightning speed.
Well, usually it takes about 2.5 seconds to climb a ladder of 25 feet for the gentlemen that are out on the street. The better ones can climb it in 2 seconds flat. So we really get some speed up on the ladder. In a fire situation, sometimes it takes into account because you want to get up there if you have to save somebody as quick as you can.
And here goes West Islip. Right there, you see a backlog on the ladder, and that's got to be your worst case scenario, when the third man catches the second man mid-flight on the ladder.
Yeah, usually you like to have them spaced out so that you can climb freely on the ladder rather than have to be bogged down by the guy in front of you. If someone misses, it usually throws the whole shot off.
How realistic are the record times you have in the state final? The record for the three-man ladder in the state is 6.04, held by the Hempstead Hornets, a team you are very close to, a charter member of that team, a two-time state champion you were, captained that team. Now, when you guys got that state record, is that a one-timer that you guys just unbelievably, everything clicked and you got that time?
No, actually, the gentleman who was running three-man for us, Tom Abramsky, happened to be one of the best climbers in the state. He set the record at 6.05 and then broke it again later on at 6.04. As you can see, one little slip and it throws the whole shot right off.
Now, as a man, that third man approaches the ladder, do some guys go with like a jump to skip maybe the first 3 steps, or is it important to try and hit a few steps and get your feet under you and then power yourself up the ladder?
Well, what they usually do, most racing men usually hit the third rung on the ladder. They don't bother with the first or the second. And using that as a propellant, they vault themselves up the ladder. Usually they skip every other rung, and that gives them a little bit quicker speed up the ladder. Most guys run into the ladder as hard as they can, using as little stopping steps as they can, so that they can keep the momentum going.
When does the clock officially stop when the third man gets to the top of the ladder? Is there something he has to grab or touch or pull?
If you could take a look at the top of the arch, there are 3 men up at the top. There are 3 officials that are assigned to the finish of the ladder events. They have buttons in their hand, and all 3 of them have to hit their buttons simultaneously, and that will stop the clock. If one hits it off from the other one's delay or whatever, or if they miss the shot, he'll be eliminated from the time, and only the other 2 will. There are 3 clocks that they use.
Now, you symbolized our judges, the guys with the white shirts, and there are many gentlemen in white shirts located throughout the track.
There are about 60 officials here today. They only allow 20 to be out on the street at one time. The other 40 are off the street, resting and waiting for their events to be called. They assign them to the events prior to the tournament, and they'll be out. You won't see the same officials in all the different places. The only place that you'll see the same officials is in the first 3 events on the arch. They're the ones that will be keeping the time.
And there was a short delay there with the little time problem with the Melville time bandits. They seem to have everything figured out. And ready to go.
Well, it's a nice smooth shot, but I'm sure as you hear from the time that it's not going to be as competitive as West Sable's was.
Next competitors, the Roadrunners from Port Washington. On deck, the Redskins from Bayshore, the defending state champions on deck. A little bit of pressure on the Bayshore Redskins, our on-deck crew there, trying to defend that title.
Well, they've had an up-and-down year this year, and there's been a lot of teams that have challenged them during the season, winning tournaments in different sites. They're out here to prove themselves, winning it 2 in a row, a repeat.
Now, in the sports world, everybody talks about how tough it is to repeat. Would it be the same here in the volunteer firemen's drills?
Yeah, we have a trophy that's awarded every year to the champion, and it's a 3-year consecutive leg trophy. And what that means is you need to win 3 years in a row the state championship to retire it and take it home. No one has done it since it's been put into place. 2 years in a row can be done. It's been done by a few teams, but not 3.
You're looking at the leg man right there for Bayshore.
Yep, a little slip in the first man. And they don't seem to have a good time.
All the basic fundamentals of teamwork, the same kind of stuff that's in the mindset of every fireman. applies here today. I mean, you got to rely on the guy in front of you as well as the guy behind you.
Well, as in fires, split-second timing and coordination and cooperation is very, very important. And Bayshore has been red flagged. They touched out of sequence. The first and the second men have to touch the top rung first, in any order. The third man touches after they do. If it goes out of that sequence, they'll be red flagged and their time will be disqualified.
So Bayshore, in essence, has no chance to catch any points here in the three-man first event.
No, they're out. There's a possible 5 points, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for all the places. We award points for each of the first 5 places. They're out. They've been red flagged. They've been disqualified from the event. So they will come out of this with no points.
Heading into our 10th team here in the three-man. But a team like Bayshore that knows it's strong in the later events, they can be shut out here in the first event with 8 events and still feel confident as the day goes on.
Well, there are 8 events to run. There's 40 points to be won. And if you do fail in one event, it doesn't mean at the end of the day you still got to compete, because anything can happen in drills.
Not a bad job there by the upstate team, the Main Transit Slowpokes. Not really living up to their name. Got off the ladder pretty good. First thing that jumps out at you when you look at all these teams is some of these nicknames. Every team, it's almost a competition of who can get the better nickname.
Yeah, well, it's funny how the names come about. Some of them nobody remembers how that happened. Some of them are cute. The Yellow Hornets, the team that I'm from, we were called 4 different things when they started the team, and they settled on a combination of names from the Yellow Jackets and the Green Hornets, and they came up with the Yellow Hornets. A team like the Flukes, who was a sister team from Hempstead, their name came from the officials announcing from the arch that they fluked, which is a miss at the nozzle, and after they did it a few times, the name stuck. So they come from all different places.
Kind of the right name for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time out here.
There's our third upstate team, the Wanderers.
Now they got their name. They're from the Albany area. And they got their name because they used to travel distances to compete in drills every weekend. So they ended up coming up with the name the Wanderers. I suppose somewhere after the movie that came out.
That was kind of different because the biggest guy in that three-man team was the leg man, the third man to go up the ladder.
Well, what they normally do in the competitions during your practice time is you'll compete against one another for the key positions. And they'll take the 3 fastest men and they'll put them in three-man ladder. And then they'll determine who is the fastest on the ground in the ladder, the combination, and where you can run your best time from.
Right here, the Sayville Blue Jays.
A little slip by the second man slows everything up. And once again, they touched out of order. The third man grasped the rung before the second man, so they'll be disqualified from the event.
Many different elements go into a successful run. It is really an exact science and also a little luck.
Oh, yeah, that happens, too. There's a lot of times when you go out there with the best team and it just doesn't happen for you that day. And there's a team out there that's been vying for that first-place position, and they end up getting a little luck that day and winning the tournament.
I mean, in reality, it has to come down to just hitting the ladder right, each step on that ladder.
Oh, yeah. A lot of practice goes into it, so we take a lot of the luck out of it, but it still has to be there. As they say in golf, they'd rather be lucky than good.
This is our 15th team, Hagerman Gamblers. Crowd still filing in here in Hempstead. It is an early day, JR, an all-dayer, they like to say.
Yeah, it sometimes runs even longer than that. What we do is we alternate the drill site for the state championship. And at times we've been upstate at many different places. Maine Transit hosted it last year, and again next year. And sometimes the tournaments get delayed, and the drill will last until the next day. We've had 2-day drills, so to speak, where they've lasted past 12 midnight.
So there might come a time where the lights will go on and we shall go into the night.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time. In 1984, when we won it the first time, we did it in Central Islip, and the tournament was over before dusk. In 85, it was in Hempstead, and we ended it just after dusk. We have pretty good fortune down on the island with the way the tournaments go.
Okay, JR, as our 3-man ladder competition rolls on, one of the better runs of the day was our number 3 team, the West Sayville bunch. And right now, Trish Bergen has herself surrounded with a couple of Flying Dutchmen. Trish.
Thanks, Jim. I'm here with Mike and Rob. Guys, you must have used some kind of strategy to get all 3 of you up the ladder that quickly. How'd you do it?
The strategy is pretty simple in this contest. It involves timing. We have to listen to our starter and get off to a good start. And we have to get into the ladder pretty fast, use that momentum to carry us up to the top and grab the top rung.
I know that you've been preparing for this event for a long time. What have you been doing to prepare for this particular event?
We've been preparing, running a lot up the ladder, practicing the starts, getting on time, all 3 of us. And just run up the ladder so we're nice spread apart so we can get up the ladder real quickly.
Did you run into any problems when you were on your way up?
No, it seemed like we didn't run into any problems. We seemed pretty far apart, and we just did what we could do.
And what place are you in right now?
Second place. And right now we should stand. We got other teams to run, so we should stand second place.
Okay, great. Good luck to you guys. We're going to move on now to the Class B hook and ladder competition.
Back at Fireman's Memorial Park, where we are moving on to our second event of the day, the Motor Hook and Ladder Class B. This is the time of day, JR, where you smell the fuel burning, rubber burning. This must be the fan favorites when you get to see the trucks come out there and get up and down that track.
Yeah, it starts to get a little bit more exciting now when you start to have man against machine, and the coordination tends to get a little bit closer here with the driver thrown into the mix instead of just a 3-man climbing the ladder. You have 2 diggers, you have a thrower, and then a climber getting off the back of the truck.
We have a little time now as they're brushing off the finish line of the track, maybe a little oil spilled. We'll update you on our standings coming out of the first event, the 3-man ladder. Central Islip with a time of 6.15. A heck of a climb they had, and they took 5 points. Taking 4 points was North Lindenhurst. West Sayville with 3 points. Patchogue with 2. And JR tells me getting 1 point was a little bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, the South Hempstead Rascals, a young team. They've been struggling during the year. They've had good times in practice, but could never put it together in a tournament. And today they did it. And it happened to be in the state championship tournament. I think they're very happy with that.
Let's check out now our first motorized event of the day, the Selden Slowpokes. And JR, this is the shortest motorized event. Kind of take us through this.
Okay, we start the truck at 150 feet from the arch. The time will start when they pass the 100-foot line.
So they have a little bit of a head start before the actual time is running.
Right, they will do that in the motorized ladder events and the motorized hose events, rather. What will happen is the time will start. The truck will then stop 25 to 50 feet from the arch. The men will get off the back, dig the ladder into the ground. One will throw it, and the other one will climb it.
And with any motorized event, you are going to have a little bit of oil spills here and there. Various fluids come out of these highly modified vehicles. So an important part of your team here at the raceway is the broom crew.
Yeah, that has to be done. There is a rule that if the tournament is delayed because of a spill by your vehicle, you will be disqualified. A slight delay is taken into account as almost normal now, but a long-term delay, you can be disqualified from the event.
Take you right inside the truck here. Oh!
A little bit of a slip getting on the ladder.
But he'll finish the climb for good measure.
Yeah, most teams do that just to get a time. Now there are overtime in all the events, and overtime in the hook and ladder class B contest is 8 seconds. Any team that takes longer than 8 seconds to complete the event will get overtime rather than the time that they ran.
Looking at the North Babylon Tail Draggers. And that is some looking truck. JR, first thing that jumps out when you look at one of these trucks, this is not a fire truck that's going to pull old Mrs. Johnson's cat out of the tree.
No, it's evolved through the years. Originally, they started with regular fire trucks way back when. Drill teams have been around since the early 1900s, 1900s. Since that time, obviously, equipment has gotten better in the fire service and has come a long way in drill teams, too.
A little sideways on the ladder. Nevertheless, the climb is complete.
Yeah.
You speak about many different factors in this run. Not only it is the performance of the truck and the ladder crew, the truck has got to brake properly, he's got to pull away properly. A lot of things got to come into account.
Yeah, this is where the coordination and teamwork really come into play. You have the driver, who is essentially the first man that has to come into play here. He has to drive the truck and get the team down the street. He does his job, then the 4 on the back get off, and they all have to coordinate their jobs. The climber and the thrower will get off first. They will hold the ladder up towards their shoulders.
And that is the 2 guys you're seeing on directly on the back of the truck?
Those 2 guys are the diggers. They're the last 2 off the truck. The 2 guys that are standing up and that are just now getting on the truck, usually the climber is on the left side of the ladder and the thrower is on the right side.
And they will hold on to a strap.
Right, so that they can lay back a little bit and get a better angle to get off. Now they get off the truck, they hold the ladder up, then as the truck pulls away, the diggers come down with the ladder as hard as they can, plant it in the ground, and try to keep it there. Then the thrower throws the ladder up, and the climber gets on and climbs it. This is one of the teams from Hempstead, our sister team, the Flukes. They've had a little problem this year with injuries, and they've been substituting people in their events. They're always capable of running a great shot, though.
You see the driver right there, boy. He's got to be as pumped up as anybody. Let that throttle go and take it to the limit.
Yeah, you do put the pedal to the metal here, and the same is true for the brake. He has split-second timing to go from the gas to the brake and then back on the gas. These events are measured in hundredths of a second, and there are times where that does mean the difference between a point and no points.
There they go.
Not a bad shot for what they had to put on the truck today. Doing pretty well.
Now, you spoke about some injuries there. I would think that diggers have the greatest chance for injury. They are the guys who are going to hit the ground with that ladder. They really seem to roll around down there.
Well, what's odd about drill teams is that we do have our injuries during the motorized events, but you seem to get as many, if not more, in the ground events. It's one of those strange things that happen. Obviously, we don't take 4 people and throw them on the back of a rig and tell them, okay, this is what you're going to do. Everybody is taught what to do. They're slowly broken in, and they're developed through the year so that they know exactly what to do when they get off the back of the truck.
Point Pleasant Pea Pickers, another one of our upstate teams trying to make a name for themselves in Hempstead.
A lot of the upstate teams come from the Rochester, Buffalo area, Point Pleasant being one of those. They travel a long way. They're always here when the state drill is down on the island. They always come. Years ago, there was a friendship that was brewed between the Pea Pickers and the Hornets. A little slip getting in the ladder and on the ladder. In order to place in this event, everything has to go smoothly.
Stepping up there now, Oyster Bay. Rough Riders. Gamblers says on the side of the track.
And this is the Hageman Gamblers that are up now online.
Okay.
Hageman is in the running the state drill in 1995.
Got themselves a convertible.
Yeah, there are some teams out here. Well, we don't have to worry about the elements. You don't run in snow. This is a summertime event.
Like every driver, turn the hat backwards.
Not all of them, but a lot of them do.
Come on, it's a macho thing, JR. You know,
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess with the loud engines, you got to turn your hat around so you look the part.
A little tough on the release there of the ladder.
Like I said, it takes a lot of coordination, and it just doesn't happen one day. You have to practice and practice and practice. Teams are out there 2-3 times a week, 3-4 hours a night practicing.
You see many ambulances on hand here today. Hopefully we won't need any. Most of the injuries, JR informs us, bumps and bruises, a few cuts and scrapes.
I suppose, again, that goes to the mentality of being macho. Nobody wants to get treated for any injury. They want to get back on the truck and run again.
You got it. These are the Rough Riders. This is one of the newer trucks you'll see out there. Many of the teams go with the old traditional trucks. They look a little better. It gives you a little more feeling of tradition as far as the racing goes. But some of these guys just want to go with that modern horsepower.
Yeah, there are some advantages to the newer trucks. Not a bad run that started, but as you can see, the ladder is on the yellow line. Our rules state that you cannot touch the yellow lines on the arch or on the ground. If you touch them, you're automatically disqualified from the event. It's all in the eyes of safety. And there are quite a few rules that are in the book for safety and safety only.
Well, JR, I think it's safe to say that Roslyn has opened up the budget for this truck.
Yeah, they certainly
sleek
have.
Design of the Highlanders.
Yeah, that's a very modern truck. Well powered. They spare no expense. Nice rims, good paint job. That adds to it too. You know, some of the teams come out here and they want that rough, tough look and a chipped up paint job. Some of them want a real nice looking clean truck, streamlined.
Right there, right on the start line.
Ladder's a little crooked. It's a little tough for the climber. You try to get the 3 guys that are on the ground to make that ladder as easy as possible for the climber to climb. As you'll be able to see as the events go on, the smoother it goes, the faster it is, and that's the easier time to get good.
I'd imagine that is a tremendously different feeling than climbing a ladder that's stationed at the top as opposed to a ladder that's propelling itself through the air.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of coordination just for the climber alone that he has to get used to getting into the ladder, putting his foot on it, and then climbing it as it's moving into the arch. It doesn't come overnight, and the good ones practice a lot at it.
Huntington Manor Bulldog step up there. All right, he's got the goggles going there. No hat, a little guy.
Our rules state that if your head is above the windshield, you have to wear goggles. Another safety. As you can see, the ladder was a little low, so it was tough to put in the ground and then tough for the climber to see and get up it.
The majority of crews wearing the helmets. Helmets not mandatory. Long pants are. Must have a shirt tailored with sleeves.
Yeah, your pants have to go below your knees. That's considered long pants. Helmets, which has been a discussion in our rules for many years, are still not mandatory, but every year we move a little closer to doing it. a lot of the older runners on the team aren't comfortable with the helmets. I guess it's similar to what hockey did, where
Exactly.
the older guys don't have to wear helmets, the new guys do.
Of course, you get used to doing it so long without the helmet. All of a sudden, you put on the helmet, you have a couple bad runs, and what do you say?
Yep.
It's this helmet that's slowing me down. That's what's going on.
It has nothing to do with your feet or your hands, it has to do with your
Of
helmet.
course. The Mastic Whistlers stepping up to the line. Really is a tremendous psych job with these guys when they're on the back of that truck. Like to pump each other up, couple high fives.
Well, what's happened through the years is we put a time limit into the books. As you can see, they touch the yellow line, so they're disqualified automatically. And we put a time limit into the book when the officials give you the okay to run and when you have to leave the line. There's a 1-minute time limit from the white flag to when you have to leave the line. That kind of cuts down on the hand slapping and all the rigmarole that goes on before the event. But it still can get carried away at times. We've had guys who used to psych themselves up by banging their head on the side of the truck. But you have to be pumped. You have to be ready to do this.
And I would think you got to have a little bit of a reckless attitude to stand on the back of that truck, JR. Not everybody in the fire department, I think, would want to do it.
No, just as I think not everybody wants to be a fireman. You have to have a little bit of that mentality to be a fireman also, to run in where people are running out of.
And Hempstead all set to go, and the Minutemen make their way down the track.
Ladder banged on the arch, threw the climber off a little bit, slowed the time down.
You can see there what looked like a fast run. As soon as that ladder banged on the arch, of course, it will throw that ladder for a loop. That climber.
St. James, a team that's in the rebuilding stage. As you can see on the side of their truck, they were state champions in 57, 66, 71, and 72. One of the repeat champions, 71 and 72.
You're not telling me they've been rebuilding since 72 now, are you, Jay?
Well, you come and you go, you know? A lot of guys come in the department, race for a little while, and then they leave. There is a turnover of men that do this, as well as a turnover of men and women that get into the departments and fight fires. Slip by the climber, throws the whole shot off. Since 72, they've been in the running, though, during the years. They've been up there, finishing in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th place in state drills in that time span. They've always been around, and they've always been a team that you could expect something at any time.
And I mean, that's something to be proud of, to just finish one of those top slots when you have so many teams competing and the room for error is so thin here with these competitions.
Man, you can never tell what's going to happen during the day. I mean, there are 8 events to run, and there's points to be totaled up at the end through those 8 events. So anything can happen. Our neighboring West Hempstead team, we've become friendly with them through the years. One of the things that we talked about before is that the camaraderie amongst the team itself gets very tight, and then later on, after the drills are over, we all tend to mix with one another and become friends, and that's happened through the years with a lot of the teams. And a little twist in the ladder and throws the climber right off.
That run seemingly started out like a good-looking climb, but as you saw that ladder stray right, you knew the climber was in a tad bit of trouble.
It's a little difficult to climb.
JR, how many different elements of this event have you personally done?
I've dug the ladder, I've been a digger, and I've been a thrower, which is the guy on the right side of the ladder. This is Northland and Hearst Piston Knockers, one of the teams that I feel have a shot at winning the state championship today. They finished in 2nd place in the first contest, 3-man ladder. They came out of that with 4 points. This also happens to be one of the teams that we've become very, very close with through the years. from the years when we were just starting out in the early 80s in our winning streaks, winning the state championship, and then throughout all the years since then. A good bunch of guys, and we're very friendly with them. We're very close with these guys.
Piston knockers all set after 4 points in our opening competition. Right there, a smooth run, and the crowd acknowledges it. Trish Bergen is standing by with another guest. Trish.
Thanks, Don. I'm down here at the track with the Hempstead Flukes. Don, team effort was definitely an important element in this particular event. How did you guys keep it together?
Well, in this event, as well as the 7 other events you'll see here today, it's an integral part of what goes on all day long. It's 10, 12 men, whether it's on the back of a truck or running down the street doing the ground events. It's an integral part of what goes on all day long here. Everyone plays a part in every event, all day long.
Okay, timing was also very important. You guys were going top speed. How did you keep your timing down?
It just comes from practice. We've had a few injuries this year, but practice, work new guys in, and eventually the timing's going to come. You just have to keep working at it.
Okay, now you were the one who went up the ladder. What was that like?
A lot of hard practice, I'll tell you that. Last couple of weeks, I just been practicing really hard, and I got good teachers to help me out.
How did you get selected for that?
We had about 8 guys get hurt, and I was next in line, so I'm the only one that hasn't gotten hurt yet.
Does it have anything to do with weight, who goes up the ladder?
Excuse me?
Does it have anything to do with weight, who's determined to go up the ladder?
A lot of momentum, too. If I guess the truck will give you all the momentum that you need to go up.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Tricia, thank you. How about that member of the team said he's the climber because everyone else got hurt and it was the next guy in line.
Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate things that has happened to the Flukes this year. They've had a lot of injuries, some not associated with drill teams, and they've had to move people in so that they could run the events. On the line right now is my favorite, the team that's in my heart, the Yellow Hornets.
JR, the former captain of these 2-time state champions, and I know he's going to be doing a little rooting right here. It's going to be tough for him to keep his hands on the table. He's making a few gestures.
Now, they've run very good shots this past week in practice and in the last couple of tournaments. They're capable of taking the first place in this.
Get you up the ladder as we continue our coverage here from Fireman's Memorial Park. We'll be right back.
Because disaster strikes someone every single day, there's always going to be one more night someone needs food, shelter, and a place to rest. Support the American Red Cross. Because without your help, one more night could be hard to come by.
I'm in the stands here with the Yellow Hornets fan club. Tell us, who are you watching here today?
My brother, and he's the captain of the Yellow Hornets.
Are you having a good time?
Yes, I am, very much.
And who are you here watching today?
I'm watching my nephews.
What is your favorite event here?
I would say the event right now, Sea Ladder.
Why is that?
A lot of speed, it's fun to watch, and it's exciting.
Great. Okay, who else do we have here? What's your name?
Karen.
Karen, who are you watching today?
My fiance and my 2 brothers.
Wow, you have a whole family full here. Do you get nervous that maybe they might get hurt, or?
I get nervous that they might get hurt, but they tell me that they're confident, they know what they're doing, and it's fun to watch.
Right, okay, Jim, why don't you take us into our next event and tell us just what's going on?
All right, Trish, but you know, first of all, I gotta ask you, JR, it's no secret that my man right here, JR Cottrell, was the former chief of the Hempstead Yellow Hornets. Is that by some coincidence that we found Trish in the middle of you boys over there?
Gee, I guess so. I don't know. I did talk to her before, but I don't think I told her that.
And just reiterating something that happened earlier today, we had a record broken earlier today. The Central Islip Hobos beat a record that was held since 1988 by the Lindenhurst Snails, of course that is, in the motor B hook and ladder. Here is that run, 4.95 JR. What makes a record run like this?
Well, total coordination and the fact that they know what they're doing. They've been around that time all year long. They're one of the better ones in B ladder and C ladder. And their coordination today was obvious. I mean, breaking a long-standing state record since 1988 is something to boast about. Everybody's been seeking that record for quite a while, and they finally did it. Congratulations go out to them.
Right now we are moving on to our motor hook and ladder Class C. And bottom line is with Class C, we move the truck back on the course, a lot more speed, a lot more tenacious braking, and maybe even a few more bodies flying, JR.
Well, that chance does always come in. We do move the trucks back. They're faster trucks. They start 475 feet away from the arch as compared to the hook and ladder B, which starts at 150 feet from the arch. They get up to speeds of approximately 70-75 miles an hour before they start their brake, which is at 150 feet. Most teams do. And then they have to brake that 125 feet. Guys jump off the back of the truck, put the ladder in the ground while the driver's pulling away, and hopefully record a good time.
I would think this is the one that the fans really enjoy most of all. It's got the speed element. It's got that harsh braking where you really hear the brakes light up. I think this is the one where the mothers, wives, and the girlfriends start biting the nails a little bit. A lot of intensity here.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of intensity here, and in this split second, nice run by West Hempstead Westerners.
West Hempstead in that jet black fire car. Just talking a little more about that Central Islip record. They came in at 4.95 in the motor hook and ladder Class B. The record was 4.96, 1/100th of a second. Everything counts.
Yeah, it's amazing that can happen. You look at what goes on and you think that you're going to break a record by a lot, but a lot of times it's only by hundredths or tenths or even just 100th of a second. As you can see on the line now, it's the North Lindenhurst Piston Knockers, one of the teams that are so far in the running for what's going on today. They're in second place, and they're a team that can throw up a real good shot in this event.
6.5 total points for North Lindenhurst as we head into event number 3. Couple final countdowns, last checklists, and North Lindy, there they go. There's a good one.
Nice shot, very nice shot. Everything was very well coordinated there.
Even from a person who hasn't seen too much of this, you get a feel for what a good run is when you see everything click.
Yeah,
smooth
you can
sail.
tell. You can tell.
Right into the hood scoop, we take you right there. See, every car set up differently. Each driver is positioned differently in their cars. Time to hook up that ladder.
Well, everybody has their own little things, the way of running, the way they design their racks to hold the ladders. Obviously, as you can tell, a difference in the trucks.
These trucks go through so many checklifts and safety measures. They check the weight, body, transmission, brakes, tires, exhaust, cooling system, fuel. Everything's got to pass inspection.
Yeah, there's a long list that we have in our rules that you have to go through in order to be able to compete with these trucks. It's not like we just take a truck and throw it out there. We have guidelines that we go through all year long, and over the winter we readjust those guidelines to make sure that everything remains safe. These trucks are inspected before the year begins, before they run, and they have to remain that way through the year.
Hicksville Hicks.
They dug a little bit outside the safety zone and skidded in, so there'll still be red flag. Once you touch the yellow, that's it, you're out. It looks like they stopped a little bit too good for this.
Everything must go just right.
That North Lindenhurst run was a 9.17, which puts him in first place in this event. That's an impressive run.
You see our teams in the standings. As you take a look at the stands, and it's starting to fill in here. A couple hours into the competition, really brings out the people. North Lindy, you gotta like the consistency factor. No bust in any event. You always want to pick up points, and that's what they're doing, putting themselves in a position to be able to place in later events.
Well, that's very important. We discussed that before, that you want to, if you can't take a first place, you want to get points. And there are going to be some events that you're going to be better, and some events that someone else is going to be better. So you still want to pick up points here and there, just to try to get something out of the event. It all pays dividends later on.
Because with 8 events, a team is going to have their specialty events, the event where their strength is. So if you can pick up some points in an event that maybe you're not supposed to, that really puts you in a nice spot.
Sure does, and that also, you have to remember, pushes somebody else out of that event.
The Mud Ducks letting it fly. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
A little bit too hot.
Overshot the target.
Yeah. This is the Red Onions from Spencerport. They have one of the more unique designs. They use all of this for aerodynamics to try to get the truck to come down a little bit faster.
Lots of horsepower right there, lots of horsepower.
These trucks develop anywhere in the neighborhood of 650 to 700 horsepower. There's some runners out here. Pretty similar to what a drag looks like, but we also combine some other things that you would see in the design of Grand National stock cars, particularly the brakes. Not a bad run going. Nice clean run. The time will tell what the truck did on the way down and in the break.
Clean run. The Red Onions. A positive run as children of all ages come out to see the fire trucks. Maybe a couple of future climbers right there, JR. And there he is. Yeah. Sparky the fire dog. I knew he'd be here somewhere. You gotta love it.
The kids do love this. I know that after we're done watching the drill, my children will go home and they'll be playing with the garden hose in the backyard. They'll put a ladder up against the house and they'll be climbing 3-man ladder out there.
Well, as long as they don't take Daddy JR's car and try one of those brake standers and catapulting the ladder up on top of the bedroom.
Not yet, not yet. A few years to go before I think I can worry about that.
I think this is one event you really can't practice at home.
No, not this one. No.
North Belmore Rinky Dinks. Next to step up to the line. Here they come.
Stayed there a little bit too long in the break. Got him there and he stopped well, but he stayed a little bit too long there and he didn't get off the truck. That takes your time away. There's a lot of different things that the driver has to do in order to make this shot work.
Now, what can these guys do for practice? We just spoke about it's not something you could obviously do at home, and you obviously can't go out to a local parking lot. Can you come access yourself to tracks like this with your crew and make practice run after practice run?
Yeah, most teams do have a track that they practice on. Obviously, this is the home track of the Yellow Hornets and the Flukes, and we practice here 2 nights a week, sometimes 3, each of us. As you can see, the Yellow Hornets on the line. So each team does have some place to practice. Otherwise, it would be impossible to come out here and do these things. It takes a lot of practice to do this. It's not something that you can just do. Just as it is with firefighting, you have to practice that too. You have to go through drills with that too in order to become proficient at it. The same holds true for drill teams.
So the Yellow Hornets step up there looking to get some points. JR was yelling to a couple members of the crew, get some points.
Yeah, well, that's what you want to try to do. The situation that we're in now, coming out of two of our stronger events with no points, you want to see if you can come out of here with something. Sting you sooner or later.
Okay,
yeah, you led me into that.
I spoon-fed that one to you, but it's all right. The Yellow Hornets.
That's first place so far, 9-10.
9.10.
It was an excellent shot, and it was controlled very well by the whole team. Our driver, Ralph Frail, did an excellent job down there. The truck seemed to go a little bit to the right on him, and he kept it in the patch for him. They were able to keep it within those yellow lines on top of the arch, which is very, very important.
That would have been an automatic disqualification if you go outside the yellow lines.
That's right. That's one of the things that I was trying to advise them with, is just to get points here, because there's 8 events left. We get points here, we got 7 more to go. And anything can happen.
Tenny's boys firing it up, ready to go.
Bad luck there. Ladder took a little twist on him. I had a good shot going.
And don't think for 1 second that these guys are not athletes out there. You saw that climber right there go about 7-8 steps high, and he had the presence when he felt the ladder going just to hop off and take a little leap.
Yeah, Joey's a very good climber for them. He's come very, very far in the few years that he's been racing. He's an excellent drill team member.
Baby looks almost like the Batmobile. It's the Bulldog Mobile. Union Hose Company #1.
This is Dansville from Union Hose 1. They come from upstate also, up in the Buffalo-Rochester area.
Way up the thruway.
Yeah, it takes quite a while. We'll be going up there next year. The state drill is in main transit next year. So we'll be going up. That's right next to Buffalo. We'll be taking that ride. All the teams from Long Island, well, most of the teams from Long Island, I should say, will be taking that long trip up there to compete next year. From what I understand, Dansville's been running pretty good up there for him. Decent run going there, a little slip.
I could see your point of contention, how tough it is for teams to repeat, because it's a one-shot deal in these events. Yeah. A little slip here, a little poor break there. Maybe the motor breaks up here and there, and you don't pick up any points in an event. It could spell trouble.
Well, one of the things that's a little different, you come out on a Saturday morning and you start running in these events, and like you say, you get one shot. Practice is usually in the evenings after you're done working. You know you're going to have more than one shot in practice, so if something gets messed up in one shot, you have the next one to make up for it. Here it's one and that's it. So you have to do what you can do in that one shot. And it's a little different on a Saturday. These guys are getting used to it. And that is one of the factors that goes into repeating. But it's also when you're the #1 team, everybody's shooting for you. Everybody's trying to get better and better so that they can beat you, and you have nobody to shoot for. This is the Farmingville Bandits on the line. Fairly smooth run, a little bit of problem putting the ladder into the ground. The diggers didn't go down together, and it wobbled a little bit, or walked on them, so it makes it a little tougher to get in and climb.
Now you might notice down by there, the pits, there's many gentlemen standing around in those white shirts. They are our officials. They have the do's and don'ts. And our very own Trish Bergen is standing by with one now. Trish.
Thanks, Jim. Jim, we're down here at the track right now with Dan Broadwell. He is one of the chief officials in this entire competition today. Dan, you have to make some very important decisions. What kind of decisions do you have to make on this particular event as far as the problems that they run into?
To make sure that all the teams run according to the rule book, and it's such a precision amount of timing here that everyone has to definitely run in a very precision manner to get a correct time. If there are any deviations from the rule, the time or the team will be disqualified and thrown out. That way it keeps it very even for all the teams competing.
What was the most difficult decision that you've made today?
I think probably I make executive decisions, so to speak, and it was on a protest of one of the teams, and it was on a judgment call, which does not necessarily allow a protest, but I had to come up with whether the team should be allowed a executive hearing and to give them a rerun just so that we had a time. It's getting into executive decisions. I have a very competent crew of officials working out there. They've been on this track for many years, and I put all my trust into those, but I do have to be available for these major decisions.
Okay, now you have some teams from Monroe County, and I understand that you are also from Monroe County. Is it difficult to try and keep yourself from being biased?
No, I can separate myself but completely from the other teams running. A lot of times I'm involved on the track and I don't even really know that they're running. My mind is totally onto the drill as a total overall operation and not any particular team. I get excited when I see a rerun or a record run such as was done here earlier, and it's really super.
Right. Okay, Jim, we're going to go back to you. You can catch up with me later on. I'll be at a different event or a different place.
Trish, I will certainly find you wherever you go. And JR, an exciting finish there to that motor hook and ladder Class C Central I-slip, not letting anybody down. The Yellow Hornets, they got you some points there in second. Oyster Bay with that late run right there got themselves on the board.
Yeah, Oyster Bay scored well in B ladder with a second place run, and now they scored again for third place in C ladder, giving them a total of 7 points so far, and they're doing very well in this tournament. They're one of the surprises that I think are going to be coming out of here.
But what you have to look at is the Central I-slip team. Here they go with their third straight event, taking home the big points. Here's their event. Take us through it.
Well, it was an excellent run all the way from the start to the finish. As you could see, the driver had to steer the truck a little bit at the end to keep it straight. The dig was a little bit to the right, but their climb at Chucky is phenomenal. What a great climb he just had on that ladder. That was a terrific shot that they just put up.
Awesome. Certainly Chuck did the job right there. We shall move on to event number 4 as Cablevision's coverage of this fire competition continues.
Alcohol abuse. It hits you right where you live, shattering families.
Shut up, Jennifer! Leave her! Get out of my way!
Turning our highways into battlefields.
Dispatch, this is 165. We've got a fatal. Send the crew.
Roger, 165.
Alcohol abuse. It doesn't have to hit you where you live. Give your town a fighting chance. Call 1-800-ALCALLS.
An interesting point about this event, which I just learned, is that this isn't it for these guys. They're going on. They're going to continue this on September 18th. They've got a big day coming up, and it's to raise money for the Cancer Society. Kathy's from the Cancer Society. She's going to tell us all about it.
The American Cancer Society funds many different programs on Long Island, and these volunteer firefighters do this all summer, and on September 18th, they're doing it again to raise money for the American Cancer Society to fight cancer in kids on Long Island.
How much money do you expect to raise?
We hope to raise at least $25,000.
Now, I understand that the Cancer Society has different programs. Can you tell us a little bit about where this money will be divided up into?
Sure. A lot of different programs for kids with cancer go on throughout the year, but this summer we have a very special program called Camp Adventure. It's our 4th year, and from August 22nd through the 28th, we have a camp for kids with cancer. It's free of charge. They stay there for a whole week. It's all funded by money that are raised from events like this fundraiser on September 18th.
Okay, now you two gentlemen are from the Drill Captains Association, and I understand that you play a role in this also. What's your part?
That's correct. My name's Gary Kyle. I'm the chairman for the cancer tournament this year. Angelo Catalano is co-chairman. and we're currently from the Nassau-Suffolk County Drill Team Captains Association. And it's kind of a fun tournament for us. We get the chance to, you know, send all the proceeds that we raise for that day to a good cause, which is the kids with cancer. And every volunteer fire department is enthusiastic about this, and they give more than 100% cooperation on this.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you. Okay, I think we're ready for our next event. It looks like these guys are setting up. Jim, if you could tell us all about it.
All right, Trish, and we certainly will tell you all about it as we head to our 4th event of the day. The Motor Hose Class C with a state record of 12.41 held by Patchogue. But the first thing you got to be thinking about, JR, is our current standings.
Yeah, it's getting interesting. Central Islip has done very well in the first 3 events, but there are a few teams that are still right at their feet.
North Lindenhurst coming in at a close second, 8.5 points, 6.5 points behind the Central Islip team. In third, we're checking out at Oyster Bay with 7 points. 4th place right now, West Sayville at 4.5. And yes, in 5th place, right up there, the Hempstead Yellow Hornets.
Well, the day is still young. There's still plenty of time for us to score some points as far as the Yellow Hornets are concerned. One of the surprises for me for the day is the Oyster Bay Teddy boys. They're doing very well today, going without any points in 3-man ladder, and they scored 2nd and 3rd place in the next 2 events, and that should give them a good boost coming into C-Hose.
Now you're looking at the entire track, and we are using the entire track here. We have moved on to a little water action.
Yeah, this is the C-Hose contest. This is using the C-Truck. They start from 675 feet from the arch, drive down the street to 200 feet, drop the man off like he just did, which was an excellent shot, then go back up the street another 150 feet, drop the nozzle man off, and they attempt to hit the target, which they just did from West Sayville. That was an excellent run.
Very successful run by West Sayville. Many intangibles in this. You got the drop-off, the double drop-off, grab the hose, release the water.
Yeah, there's, as the event goes on here, as you can see, it gets more and more technical with coordination. You have the driver naturally in all of these events, that is very important, but you also have the hydrant man who has to put the coupling on the hydrant and turn it on. And you also have behind him a man who anchors the hose when he gets off the truck so that the hydrant man is free to do that. They drive up a little bit further, drop off a nozzle man and a breaker man. Well, something just happened to their run.
A large O came over the crowd, as I think there was a penalty levied against the West Sayville Flying
Dutchman.
Dutchman.
That way. That's going to hurt them if that's true. Getting back to what I was saying, the nozzle man and the breaker man get off up at the other end. The breaker man disconnects the hose, the last length of hose, allows the nozzle man to put the nozzle on and hopefully hit the target pretty quickly.
Now, JR, within each one of these events, you have to place some emphasis on one part of the run. Now, where would you say, if you were watching this as the team captain, as you once were, what part of this drill would you say would concern you the most that you guys had to pull off?
In this particular event?
Sure.
In this particular event, I used to be the nozzle man for the Young Hornets when we won the state championship. In my eyes, that's the hardest position to run in this event. However, you'll hear different from hydrant men, and you'll hear different from the driver. It's a pretty difficult call. You have your in-front players, the players who hook the hydrant up, who put the nozzle on, who hit the target, who drive the truck. But there's also the background players, the guys who do the support work on the track in that run. I had mentioned once before that when we won the state championship, we had the best climber in the state at the time, Tom Abramsky. Well, behind the scenes a little bit was his brother, Joe Abramsky, who was the thrower for Tommy, so he could climb the ladder. He was the anchor man for Tommy so that he could hit the hydrant. He was the top man in buckets. There are a number of different people behind the frontline guys that everybody sees and cheers for that have to do their job. But I would say probably the most difficult of those three, the driving, hitting the hydrant, and the nozzle.
I think the other element that's thrown into play here is the water itself. And we did have a little downtime in between event 3 and 4 because there comes down to that inevitable water pressure check.
Yeah, what they do is we have set up in our rules that in order to run this contest in the state drill, the water must be timed through 150 foot of hose. and have to be consistent through that hose. What we've done here at Hempstead is we've put up a pump house so that we could get consistent water, and that's all that that pump does, is pump for this tournament and the practices that we have. Now, what they tested through is hose that's supplied by the Drill Team Captains Association, who are the people who govern and run the tournaments, and they test the water. The water must be tested through the I believe it was 146 feet of hose to be within 4.1 seconds to 5.0 seconds. Once they get it in that range, it has to stay consistent for the entire day. If at any time it varies, it's allowed to vary up 0.2 of a second. So it could be, if it's set at 4.7, it can be up to 4.9 seconds, and it can vary down to 4.6 seconds. Looks like the Melville Time Bandits are up.
Time Bandits strapping on the helmets, put the chin strap on, grab that hose nozzle.
Oddly enough, I also play softball for the Hempstead Fire Department in our leagues, and in our softball tournaments we developed quite a relationship and a rivalry with the Melville Fire Department softball team, who has been very, very good, and we've got a lot of friends on that team also.
Time Bandits staring into the red flag, which of course means stay right here. Final preparations done on the track.
This event tends to take longer because of the fact that water has to be cleaned up after each shot to make sure that it's at least equal for everybody to run. As you can see down at the hydrant area, they're cleaning up water that's spilled out from the hose and at the hydrant, so that it's not that slippery for the hydrant man.
Okay, it looks like Time Bandits are just about set to go here. Here they go. Coming at you in the striped shirts.
Once again, a little bit too far down the street for the hydrant man to stop. A new team out on the course, though, the last couple of years, and they've been doing very well.
Now, those guys overshot the hydrant, so basically when a team nails the hydrant, that water should be on its way before those guys have solidified themselves on the ground with the hose underneath them.
Oh, yeah. What happens is, when you'll see a good shot here coming up soon, the hydrant man will turn on the hydrant, and water will be going through the hose that's in the street while the rest of the hose is still on the truck. When the nozzle man and breaker get off up at their spot, when they go to the coupling, there'll be water in that last length of hose. It'll be right behind them. And most times you got one shot at it.
So for a nozzle man and breaker, probably the worst feeling in the world is when you hit the ground with the hose and you wait.
Yes.
And you wait and you wait because you know something did not go right back at the hydrant.
Yeah, it's a very discouraging point at that point in time. It also throws you off a little bit. When you practice this event and you practice it to run a good time, you end up running so that you have water shortly after you connect the nozzle. If you wait a little bit, you tend to tighten up or relax, and it throws you off with your shot at the target.
Couple more brushes from Team Squeegee down on the track. Our next fire club is all set to go. The turn of the key. Motors roar, those header mufflers heat up. Here they come.
Oh, had a little problem breaking it. Nozzle man did a pretty good job there.
Nozzle man with the quick roll dive.
Yeah.
Looked like he was working for the SWAT team. There they are, Team Lindenhurst, our second place squad. Check that. Our second place squad is, of course, North Lindenhurst.
This is the Lindenhurst Snails, state champions in 1987. Neighbors of the North Lindenhurst Piston Knockers. And at one time, they were all part of one community. In 1957, they separated North Lindenhurst from Lindenhurst. And there's been an intense rivalry ever since between the two teams. And I have one of the more unique C-trucks out on the street, and every time they get a new one, it's of a different design.
That one really jumps right out at you. Here they come, right at you. Check that out.
Not a bad connection at the hydrant. If you can hold it on up, it blew off. And that's why there's no water up at the nozzle. And here it comes. He reconnected it. They came so close.
Once you go with that reconnect, it's basically academic, though.
Pretty much.
Now, you saw right there, Lindenhurst, they jumped off kind of early. Their momentum, which I would think would be to your advantage if you're going to miss time to jump off early. This way, your momentum carries you into the hydrant, as opposed to putting on your brakes, your leg brakes I'm referring to, and having to backtrack back to the hydrant.
We've got one of the co-hosts, the Hempstead Flukes, on the line for their run. As you heard before with the interview that Trish did, they've had some problems with injuries. We're down to their third hydrant man in depth. But they're always possible. There's always a possibility that they can give a good shot here. Not a bad hook up at the hydrant. And a decent shot at the target.
Not a bad job.
A little bit slow leaving the hydrant, I guess, because it's the third in depth at hydrant. They're a little concerned with. Plus, he's one of the chiefs in the fire department. I don't think they want to hurt him.
Not a bad hookup as the water drains through. And right now, JR, we're going to catch back up with Trish, who's standing by with Mr. President. Trish.
Okay, Jim, we're standing here with Bob Bean. He is the president of the Drill Team Association. Bob, you've been around for this event for 35 years now.
Right.
Are you pleased with today's turnout?
Absolutely. Things look great. It's one of the best crowds we've had in years. Everybody seems to be running well, doing well. Everything has been fairly safe up to this point, and I'm quite happy with the whole thing.
Great. Now, besides the firemen competing here, we're having a little competition with the weather. You think that's going to give us any problems?
Well, I don't think so, because we're already into sea hose. We get through this as one of the heaviest events that we have to worry about with the weather. Unless we have a torrential downpour, I think we'll keep right on going.
Okay, great. Jim, we're going to go back to you. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Trish, thank you, too. Who was that guy behind you making fun of you? I'll get him later, don't you worry. Back on the Motorhose Classic, he makes a good point there about the weather. This is the event you want to get through before the rain, because the next couple of events are on foot.
No, what happens here, this is the event that obviously the last event with the great speed in it, with the C-trucks being used, doing 70, 75 miles an hour. When we get to the next event, which is the Motorhose Class B, it's a little bit slower. We'd like to get through B-hose before any rain comes down. The problem they have is obviously with slippage of the trucks and the gentleman getting off the back of the truck. So, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything too bad. From my vantage point, it looks like it's just going to pass by pretty quick.
Just enough to annoy you, a little rain drop.
That's right.
Looks like our next squad.
Point Pleasant Pea Pickers.
Point Pleasant Pea Pickers. I'm not going to ask you to say that 5 times fast, JR. They have given each other the thumbs up. The shields are down on the helmets. Last little check, and they're off. Out of your picture.
Not a bad connection. Yes. Good. They can get it on up there. No trouble. Got it on. Not too bad. Not too bad. Had a little trouble hitting the target. But not too bad of a run for Point Pleasant.
Not too bad. Point Pleasant just might have got themselves in the top 5 with that run.
It's always interesting to watch the teams from upstate. People are rooting for them. Like to see them score some points. We've got North Lindenhurst piston knockers on the line now.
There you go. In second place overall with 8.5 points. They will certainly be looking to keep pace with Central Islip, who is pitching a shutout, 15 points.
Yep, 15 for 15 so far. We've got some pretty good runs up there. It'll be tough for them in this event.
Just score, baby, just score.
Now, that's the name of the game when you get here. You want to keep getting points, and hopefully one of these next few events you'll be able to score big enough to put you in the lead.
You see that New York State champs, 1981. North Lindenhurst hoping to go back to the paint shop.
Yep.
After today for some new detailing.
You always want to add a comma after that state championship so you can add more.
And here they come.
Good shot going here. Excellent target hit. They got a good run going there.
North Lindenhurst continues to excel in every event as they put up a good run.
He connected the coupling excellent on that shot. Just missed the handle on the first swipe, which delayed the time slightly.
As the hoses are rolled up, we're going to roll up our sleeves and send it over to Trish, who's standing by.
Okay, Jim, we're here with Larry, and he's from the West Hempstead Westerners. Larry, you were at the end of the hose where they connected to the hydrant. There's a slight hesitation there from when the water gets down to your other teammates. What's going through your mind?
Basically just trying to keep the hose still so the hydrant man can get it on and make sure that it gets enough turn onto the hydrant so that when the water goes through, the pressure doesn't blow it off. Because a lot of times if it's not on quick enough, it blows off real fast and everybody gets wet.
There must have been some kind of a rush of adrenaline for you, huh?
That's why we do this. There's no real other reason. I mean, it's fun. We do learn a little bit about firematics, and you know, it gets our response times real quick. But the rush is it's a real good rush. It's a real good.
Support the American Red Cross. Because without your help, one more night could be hard to come by.
Okay. This competition. Now, these guys aren't kidding around. They're really into this team spirit thing. This guy actually has the name of his team shaved into his head. We're at the starting line of a new event. It's called the Efficiency Competition. Can you tell me exactly what you guys have to do for this? I noticed that there's no automobiles involved in this at all.
Well, in this event, there's 8 men and 3 lengths of uncoupled hose. At the start, 2 men will couple the couplings, and now the hydrant man will put the hydrant coupling on the hydrant, turning the water on. The water then surges through the hose, and the nozzle man will hit the target and end the event. Fastest time wins.
Okay, nozzle man, it seems like it's all up to you at the end. Are you nervous?
There's always a little bit of nervousness in there, but as soon as you step off the line, the adrenaline takes over, and you hope for the best.
What happens if there's a fire in your town? Who's going to put it out?
So basically, you know, field cover for everything.
Okay, great. Jim, these guys are just about to take off. If you can just tell us a little bit more.
Okay, Trisha, just one word of advice. Make sure you wash your hands after playing around with those snails. You got that? I was just telling you, make sure you wash your hands when you play around with those snails. Okay, JR, we move on. My fire expertise, I know efficiency is 8 men, 3 hoses, and a target. You fill in the blanks.
Well, what they do is they start 50 feet from the hydrant. All the at the start, they break the light, start the time. On the run, puts the nozzle on. The hydrant man runs up, connects it to the hydrant, turns on the water. They stretch the line out into the street 150 feet, and they hit a target that's 175 feet away from the hydrant.
Okay, looks like our hydrant is all set, ready to go. Westbury is on the line. We are moments away from bringing you yet another look to the fireman's drill. Event number 6, the efficiency. Let's see just how efficient these turtles from Westbury can be. Officials are off the course. And there they go.
Not a bad hookup at the hydrant. They got the hose out pretty straight. All the little kinks in the hose slow the water down. So you've got to try to get it stretched out as straight as possible by the time the water gets there. Wasn't a bad shot for Westbury.
So the guys who are on the shorter end of the hose actually have to know where to stop.
Pretty much so. Basically what you try to do is the one guy who is behind the hydrant man will anchor the hose, and then the other guys try to stretch it out as fast and as straight as they can do it. Usually what ends up happening is they go to a spot and they get turned around.
Right.
And then that's when they know when to stop, put the hose down on the ground and keep it there.
Although you have to be careful against jerking the hose, because as you say, that could cause a kink.
Yeah, you don't want a kink. A kink will slow the water down, and especially in this contest, it's very important to get it straightened out all the way because you're using leg power here instead of horsepower.
Now, of course, you have team number 2 attaching their adapter onto the hydrant. How many different variations of an adapter would you have for a hydrant?
Well, there's not many, but everybody gets used to their own. Usually they use one that's at a 45-degree angle. Some teams come with ones that are straight. Clayton, who is up on the line now, has a straight adapter. It's your preference. There are different hose sizes that you use. There's 3 allowed to be used, and everybody has a different hose. So
Also, the target is positioned in a different area for this event.
Now what they do is they move the target from the the right side of the course out to the center of the course.
So here goes Clayton for the sprint.
Not too bad of a run, a little slow at the hydrant, and a little bit of a miss at the target.
Now, can you go as close to the target as you want?
You have to stay 25 foot away from the target. There is a line, a double white line, that you cannot go over with the nozzle. You can go on it, but not past it. So you have to stay 25 feet away from the target no matter what. This is a big run for West Sayville right here. They're on the line. They have sole possession of second place right now with 10.5 points, and they could use some points right now. Try to move up on Central Islip.
3 events left. They can pick up some points and hope that Central Islip gets shut down, which kind of looks improbable at this point in time. Central Islip has come in. It's one of our more focused teams.
Yeah, they seem to have it on the ball today. They know what they came here to do, and they're doing it.
I mean, JR, you must be a guy who knows when, like you said, a team comes in on the ball and they get that momentum and that concentration, and it just seems like as a fan sitting here, you just know these guys are going to give it a run for the money.
Yeah, they're keyed up because for a team to miss in one event and then come right back in another event like they did is a sure sign that they're ready to run the whole day.
Here go the Flying Dutchman.
A very nice hit at the hydrant. The hose is out. Target was hit. That was a very nice run.
In full stride, he hits the target. The Flying Dutchmen are happy about that one.
It's a good time. 8:75 is an excellent time. It's only 11/100ths off the record. That puts them in a good spot.
Looks like the Melville Time Bandits stepping up in their prison fatigues.
They got a good bunch of athletes on this
This
team.
right here is going to look like a prison outbreak to you at first glance. And they're over the wall.
Pretty good. Good shot. Very nice shot by the time bandits.
Good target right there. The target was very giving. First sign of water, and the red dot came flying.
Well, that's also very important. You could lose a lot of time down there.
Hey, there's our friend Sparky the Fire Dog. He's been a good buddy to everybody today. Look at it. They can't get enough of him. Go ahead there, boy.
We've got the St. James Wildcats that are on the line. Look like they're ready to run.
St. James, a strong contingent from St. James here. Seated right next to us. They'll be hooting and hollering once the boys break from the line. Final preparations. And St. James is off.
Good hydrant hookup.
Good hookup.
Hose is getting out. Nice hit on the target.
And you can hear the crowd respond as St. James in sync that time from start to finish.
8.90.
With an 8.90, which puts them third right now. So a good run for St. James at this point in time. With about 15 teams left, they're in the money. Hey, have a drink, sweetheart. It's been a long, hot day. Couple squeegeeing. That all-out squeegeeing going on the track. Right now, JR, me and you are going to take a little side step, and we're going to throw it down to Trish Bergen, who's got her hands on another team. Trish.
Okay, we're down here at the track with the Melville Time Bandits. Guys, you did an excellent job. Are you happy?
Very happy. We practiced long and hard, and the results paid off.
Okay, you have an awfully young team here. Do you think that helps you out a lot?
Definitely, especially in this event, you need a lot of legs and good luck, so we got both of that.
You guys are too much. Someone took a spill when you guys were down here. Does that slow you down at all, or what?
It could, as long as you don't get tangled in a hose and get it stretched. That's what we're looking for, a straight stretch. Good times.
Great, excellent job. Very good. Jim, back to you.
Thank you.
Couple little stretches for the West Hempstead Westerners as they patiently wait their turn.
West Hempstead is the record holders in this event at 864. It was set a few years ago in 1991 at this track.
Well, it's a good chance some of those same guys are on this efficiency line for them too. So you take a little pride in that factor when you're the state record holder and you step up there. Everybody's holding the program and the scorecard. They look right up there. They see you're the state record holder. So everyone kind of says, hey, check these guys out. They're going to be pretty good.
That's true. For a while, I was on a couple of the state record holding teams, and that's exactly right.
You feel the pressure. You feel like you want to perform for everybody because they know you're center showcase.
Oh, there they go. Nice hydrant hit. And a good target here, too. Good shot by West Hempstead.
Time for the Westerners, 8.87.
8.87, so they will slide ahead of St. James and take over third place. So we've seen two good runs here. Back-to-back, St. James Wildcats, then West Hempstead Westerners doing them a little better. Well, I would think about now, Central Islip has started to brew an air of confidence about themselves as they have really put on quite a show here today. Track is done, adapter is in place. Final signals are being called by the drill sergeant in charge.
That's Henry, their old driver, who's starting them. And as big as he is, I guess they have to listen to him.
Sort of the same look you see on an Olympic track runner right before they start. And there they go.
Nice shot coming here.
And look at the formation heading towards the target. Wow, wow.
That's a real nice shot. Good shot by the nozzle man, Bobby Miller. Excellent, excellent work.
You could just see them heading towards the target. 4 men side by side, full speed. We'll just wait and see what the time is. Look at the anxiousness on the part of the Central Ice. They know they kicked off a good time right here. 8.77. So they'll take into 3rd place right now. West Sayville just sneaks by. But once again, they did what they had to do. They picked up 3 points.
Exactly right.
Lessening the differential. West Sayville only picks up 1 point. Well, folks, get ready to fasten your seatbelts once again. The cars are coming back out. When we return, the motor pump.
Maybe it starts out with just a look. Then it leads to some angry words. And if it isn't stopped, it can fill a community with hate and anger and even violence. This is Mario Cuomo. If there's a racial problem in your area, please call New York State's new toll-free hotline. Call at the first sign of any racial trouble so that you can stop it before it can explode.
Okay, we're here right now with the Central Islip Hobos. You guys just did an amazing job. You had the stand on their feet. They were applauding for you guys. How did that feel?
It's an awesome feeling, honestly. It's we practice this contest all the time, and to run it like that was really nice. It felt great.
When you guys came down the track, you were one right behind the other. You got the hose to the target. You hit it right on the head. How did you manage to do it?
Well, like I said, it's a contest that we take pride in. We practice it a lot of time because it's a team contest. It's 8 guys running together, and that's what makes it so satisfying to run like that.
Okay, if you could have done it over again, would you have changed anything about it?
No, we usually don't change anything. The way we practice is the way we like to run in a tournament, and that's basically one of our practice shots that we just ran there.
Okay, so you're saying you just hit it right on the head?
Yes, you could say that.
How are you standing right now as far as the overall competition goes?
Right now, we're leading the drill at this stage of the tournament.
Excellent, congratulations. Okay, Jim, we're going to go back to you. We'd like you to take us to the next event.
All right, Trish, thanks once again. Central Islip getting it done. The last team on there, they come through in the efficiency, scoring points, and they really have set the stage here for West Sayville as we come into the motor pump. West Sayville 7.5 points behind. They must score in both of these last remaining events or they are eliminated and Central Islip walks away the winner.
Well, that's exactly right. They have to score and Central Islip can't for West Sayville to have a chance in motor pump.
Right now they are 7.5 points behind. They would need 8 points, any combination of an all-out victory, a 5-point victory, and then a 3rd place to get that 3 points, or 2 seconds, 4 and 4. But then, yes, they have to hope Central Islip gets shut out, which they have shown no sign of doing so far today for 2 events in a row. So West Sayville steps up in the motor pump.
Good hydrant hookup. Hose is out, no kink, need a target hit. Not a bad run. Now you just got to see what's going to happen with the rest of the event.
Not a bad run. They seem happy with it. But all that's left to do for West Sayville is play that waiting game now. They're going to have to wait all the way for Central Islip to step to the line. And then they will know their fate.
684 is the time that they ran. That's not a hard time to beat. The problem that they have now is they can't allow 3 teams to beat them. If they come up with 2 points here, it's impossible for them to catch Central Islip.
Stepping up now, our number 42 squad, the Lindenhurst Piston Knockers. JR, the times have not been as low as you expected today.
No, this event usually we run in the mid-6s with all the teams that score. Right now, first place is a 684 and second place is a 685. I expect to see something come out of North Lindenhurst here. They're capable of running a real low 6 here. And they need something. They want to get into contention for second place.
Piston Knockers looking focused and fired up. They await the go signal. Just what is that water pressure like coming out of that hydrant off that initial hookup?
Oh, it's pretty tough to handle. You got to be awfully strong if you don't put that on right away to get that coupling together.
There's the approach.
Shot.
Oh!
Excellent shot. Excellent shot. Looks like they're going to take over first place here.
You don't need an audience just to tell you just what happened there. You heard the crowd give that, oh, because that target came up right away.
That looks like a low 6.
The Piston Knockers with a 6:15, they take over first place in the motor pump. Back to the starting line, and don't look now, but it's the Hempstead Yellow Hornets. Playing for pride, as they say in the old schoolyard. Playing for pride, but as we said, if you can't get the big cheese here, the state championship, the individual events will do just fine in that trophy case.
It looks like the Yellow Hornets are running for what you said, it was pride, and also trying to get into the 5th and 4th place position in the tournament. Try to get a overall time, overall point trophy.
Of course, it's not bad to have a state record under your belt. 572 is the mark to go for, held by Patchogue. That's going to be tough. 6:15, Lindenhurst holding the lead right now in the motor pump. The North Lindenhurst boys coming in and overtaking West Sayville, was holding second at 684, and here go the Hornets.
Yeah, miss at the hydrant. Good shot on the target, but a miss at the hydrant.
Good shot on the target. Didn't get the hydrant. You notice the Hornets go about 10 feet beyond that white line. That's been a point of contention. JR's all day, but they certainly have the hat of the day. Look at one of those guys packing the hoses into that Yellow Hornets truck as we pull out a little bit. That is the hat of the day. Who is that wearing that hat, JR?
Oh, that's Steve Marrero, one of the members of the team. We call him Big Daddy.
Big Daddy's got himself a big old hat on.
Well, tough luck for the Hornets in that run. Well, they still got a shot at 5th place in the tournament.
Still bring home a trophy. The wind has picked up a little bit. Is that a factor? We've seen a couple of companies have a good hookup, get the hose down, and they just could not hit the target. Does the wind have anything to do with that, JR?
Well, sure. What we were talking about before about getting 10 feet past that line, it's important for that factor also, because it doesn't give the wind that much of a chance to affect the shot. Also, from shooting far back, not only is the wind a factor, but it's tough to see the target.
Sure, because the spray of the hose opens up so much in front of your eyes, you just lose all perception. And that target is not too big. That's probably only 6 inches by 6 inches, I'd imagine.
That's right.
You got to be right there. Oyster Bay all set to go. See what they can do. 6:15, the mark to beat.
Good shot on the hydrant all by himself. Back a little bit on the line.
Oh!
Excellent shot on the target. An excellent shot.
Oyster Bay will just sit back now and play the waiting game for that announcement. Will it be music to their ears? 6:44 moves him into second place, and that is going to drop West Sayville into 3rd place, which would mean Central Islip would have to finish only 5th in this competition and pick up 1 point. They are the champions. Oyster Bay with quite a run here in the motor pump.
Still got a few teams to go that can run this contest.
still hanging out in numbers as night is about to fall upon us. The lights are on here at the raceway. Patchogue, 40 Thieves, our next contestant. What is Patchogue hoping for right now? They got to take over North Lindenhurst by beating a 6.15, the best run of the day that we've had so far here in the motor pump. Their work is cut out for them.
Well, they have the capability. They hold the state record at a 5.72, and they've broken their own record a number of different times to get to that point. So they do have the possibility of breaking into first place here. They're just going to have to run one of those shots again where everything works right.
Patchogue overall with 7 points on the day. North Lindenhurst 9.5. So Patchogue, they could take over and get that 5 points. Could draw even closer to a second place finish. Waiting patiently for their turn. JR, when you look at this motor pump, it's been some late night fireworks that has done it these last few times. New Hyde Park a 624, Oyster Bay with a 644. Dropped out early West Sayville, and here goes Patchogue trying to make it happen.
Good shot at the hydrant. They got the hose out. Excellent shot.
Not bad.
Good shot. Good shot.
You can see the emotion right there on Patchogue. You think that guy's fired up right there? Just sit and wait now, baby.
That was an excellent run. Hell of a time.
Make it look easy. And there you have it, a sub 6 second run, 5.97 for the masters of the motor pump. Patchogue gets it under 6. They take over first place from North Lindenhurst, and give a salute to the boys. 5.97 as they ride off with the lead.
What an excellent shot that was. My hat's off to them. They do it every time.
Central Islip, the Hobos. You're looking right there at the 1993 New York State champions. It is academic at this point in time. West Sayville has dropped out. They will not be able to pick up enough points in the motor pump to achieve that 8 points they would have needed to catch Central Islip. Central Islip would have had to have been shut out in these last two events, but it doesn't even matter now. They are uncatchable, and you can see they know it.
This is still quite an exciting run for them. They still want to perform for the crowd. They still want to go out looking like champions, too, in the last two events. And I can guarantee they're going to go for a good shot here and a good shot in the final event buckets.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. Hey, you got nothing to lose, right?
It's not too often you get out here in the state championship able to show your skills. They've been doing it all day in this number 62 slot. And let's see what the CI Hobos have to offer.
Target. What a great shot that was.
That was what they call the power plunge into the hydrant.
It certainly was. What a great shot.
One motion and now, wow, hold on to your hats because they might give Patchogue a run for their money with that 597. And would it just be icing on the cake? Central Islip, they have been unbelievable here today. Central Islip riding off into the sunset as champions.
Okay, Gene, we're back down on the track. It's turned into a beautiful evening. The sun is starting to set. We're down here with the Patchogue 40 Thieves. You guys have held the record for this particular event. Have you come close to breaking it this time?
Well, we came close to breaking it today. About 2 tenths, was it? 2/10 of a second off today. So it felt pretty good. You know, we had a 1-3 stick time, and everything seemed to work out.
You guys are also one of the favorites, or among the favorites. How do you think that this event will end up turning out?
Well, we won the event. I'm afraid that CI's locked in to win the tournament. They put up a hell of a show in the beginning of the tournament, and we made a few mistakes, and that's the way it goes.
When you say a few mistakes, what would you have done over?
The whole ladders. It was
All right, guys, good luck to you. We're going to go back to Jim.
Okay, Trish, thank you very much. And that brings us to our final event of the day, the ever-popular buckets. The Bucket Brigade. Basically, 12 men, 12 5-gallon buckets, one 45-gallon drum, a 25-foot ladder, and J.R. Cottrell will tell us what the object is.
Well, very simple. You have 12 guys on a team. You'll have one standing on the arch after he climbs the ladder, 3 on the ladder, and 1 at the bottom lifting the buckets. They pass the buckets up the ladder. The man on the arch dumps it into the barrel, and the other 7 guys on the team pass the buckets that they fill out of the trough on the street to the lifter. As you can see the run going right now, which seems to be a very good run for West Sayville.
West Sayville in search of locking on to second place. They have no chance for first place. Central Islip is our winner today. But West Sayville is in a battle with North Lindenhurst and Patchogue to lock down a second place finish.
2160 is a good time, but it can be beat. There's quite a few teams out there that can beat that.
Next up on our buckets brigades, the North Lindenhurst Piston Knockers. Currently in second place overall. They will try and hold on, get some points here and hold on to that second place for the Patchogue team that is coming on strong. Oh, where are the buckets, he is saying. Where are the buckets? Things do not look good right now for North Lindenhurst. JR, not a good sign when the man accepting the buckets at the top of the arch is looking down with his arms up in the air.
Yeah, that's true. It had to be the 2155 in order to take second place in the tournament.
Does not look like it's going to be.
Seems to be the way it goes in the state drills. And actually, this is pretty early for buckets to be run. Normally, we're running them at 11, 12 o'clock at night, sometimes 2 in the morning.
The fireman's drill is a long, long day. You would think the buckets, you'd want them about 2 o'clock in the afternoon days, because there is no way you sign up or volunteer for the buckets if you do not plan on getting completely saturated.
That's true, that's true. It would be a nice refreshing pause at about 2 o'clock, but it's run at the end. And here we have Oyster Bay running.
Oh.
They get a good shot off here. They could do something with second place. Shot going. Key here is for them not to drop any buckets. They got a nice pace going. They set well into the ladder.
Once again, the element of everybody working in unison. A nice run right there.
That's a nice run for them.
Oyster Bay looking to nudge themselves into third place. 3 points behind Patchogue.
I have to admit, they were a surprise to me today.
There it is. 20.75. They will move into first place here in the bucket competition. Just what the doctor ordered for Oyster Bay. They can hang on. They will take over third place. Bucket, who's got the bucket there, JR? New Hyde Park, the Termites up next. These are one of the guys you said to look out for in the buckets.
Yeah, they're one of 3 teams that have run in the 19s in this event, and they've got nothing to lose at this point in the tournament, so I think that they're going to go for another 19, try to take over first place.
Coming right at you. Fill her up and pass them on.
Decent set on the ladder, but they're pumping the buckets pretty well. Losing a little water.
Oh, yeah.
That's an excellent shot. Filled it in 11 buckets. Good shot.
And the crowd appreciates it. The Termites.
Looks like they might have done what they came to do here.
Waiting. And the Termites love it.
What an excellent run. Filled it in 11 buckets, which is just about the minimum that it takes. They set in the ladder very nicely, and they didn't lose much water. What a great run for New Hyde Park.
The essence of teamwork right there. New Hyde Park breaks the 20 barrier. They are our leaders in the buckets. Here they come, Central Islip, nothing but gravy from here on in. Sort of a victory lap, JR.
It certainly is, and it looks like that they're going to go for the first place trophy in this event too. Little water loss, and they missed the bucket, but it's still a hell of a way to go out.
It's going to be no problem for Central Islip today. Quite a performance they put on.
Still a decent time in this event, even though they missed a couple of buckets.
22 with 2 drop buckets. You can't beat that, JR. Even when Central Islip does wrong, they still manage to kick off a nice time. And right now, Artris Bergen has caught up with some of the winners from Central Islip.
Okay, that's it for the 1993 Firemen's. These are the Central Islip Hobos. Guys, you must be so thrilled that you won.
It was fun, exciting. All the guys, got the older guys back to run.
You guys were the record holders in the bucket brigade over here. Do you guys, where are you going after this? Are you having a big party? What's going on?
Partying. Getting drunk. Right. Give me the microphone, I'll tell you. This is what it's all about. This is what we work for all year, and this is why we're here today, and this is why we race great, and we're going to have a great time. And what's the one more thing? One more thing. No. One more thing.
All right, let's hear it for you guys. Woo! Good job, good job. Jim, we're going to go back to you. This is an excellent event today. My name is Trish Bergen. I had a great time. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Tricia, thanks a lot. A great job by you today. Hey, do we have you in a couple different locations today? You were here, you were there. A fantastic job, but also a fantastic job by the Central Islip. You really can't say enough about them, JR.
Oh, they did a terrific job. They came out of the ladder events with 15 points, the most you could get, and then they just continued on. They had a little mishap in C-Hose, but then they came back like troopers.
How about this event itself? Hempstead, a great job.
Oh, they did a terrific job. The committee, Ralph Frail and John Shepard, who ran the show today, did a tremendous job. Chief themselves. I can't say enough about everybody that was involved in this. My kudos to them.
Everybody involved, including, of course, the Cablevision crew. What a long day for these guys. Everybody hustling, truly getting the job done. So for J.R. Cottrell, I'm Jimmy Cavallo, and as the chief would say, I hope all your buckets are full, and I hope you hit all the targets. So long, everybody.
The following program is being presented